So how you communicate with them at the start, how you communicate throughout the project is how you get repeat work. If someone wins that job and adds money onto the end and ends up having a bitter relationship with that client, that can be more damaging than anything else. This episode is just doing a quick episode on how we support landscapers to grow, not as a company, well, as a company, but also the tips and tricks that we'd give, maybe from just a business point of view of how people... I've not had that near, I apologise if you can't hear me for the first bit.
Sure, you're fine.
Yeah, basically tips and tricks on how we would advise you to grow your business, or if you're just starting out, the things that are important and things that are a bit non-negotiables for any trade really, but specifically landscapers, builders, designers, important. So one big thing, which is the starting point of meeting a customer or doing a quote, is professionalism.
Yeah.
And how you present yourself.
Yeah.
So when you are going to quote for a job, don't be shy to charge for that quote. If that's the level that you are at, that is your time. There's no problem with that. However, you do need to have good communication, turn up timely, don't let people down, because that's the most frustrating part of it. Communication, being timely, how you present yourself, and also the knowledge and information you convey when meeting that person.
Yep.
Similarly, if you are sending it over via email, to how you represent yourself on the quote, people generally in our industry gain 2-3 different quotes just for a comparison, because people don't know anything. And the thing is, we know that the cheapest quote is not always the best quote, and the most expensive quote isn't always the best quote. But how you present yourself as your company is what's really important, like conveying to the customer why, being a bit different.
I think if you can help stack the cards in your favour, would be a phrase I'd use. So yeah, if everybody would be sort of like quoting to do the similar sort of job, you'd hope to the same standards, you know. And like you say, yes, if people are cutting corners and such, then they are going to be cheaper, etc., things like that. But if you were quoting like for like, and you could portray yourself being more professional than Joe Bloggs, who comes in, who gives you a fag packet type of quote, and you can give yourself a professional quote with terms and conditions, everything else like that attached, and everything that you might want to be seen as being professional. It's
trust building.
Yeah.
It's like also information. So when you are discussing the garden with them, like put your point in as well, like what you do differently, how you would do things, showcase your knowledge, because people feel more comfortable with someone that it's like, you've got it, you know this, it's comfortable because the knowledge has been conveyed correctly.
Yeah, we you will be surprised that sort of like, well, probably.
Hence one of the reasons why we do this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, obviously, I'm saying you will be surprised, but probably landscapers won't be surprised how basic knowledge is not particularly known, you know, by a householder. You know, you might think that people know what you're on about when you're talking about different things, and they might want something, but it's not feasible because of certain ground conditions or levels or whatever. But yeah, I think when people are talking to the customer, I think you know, yes, they want what they want, which is great, but be realistic with it as well. And
don't people please.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't just say, oh yeah, of course we can do that, and then sting them with a bill because you've had to dig this and this and do whatever else. Yes, that might be the case, but if you can preempt that and forewarn people that, yes, my quote might be more expensive because of X, Y, Z, rather than, oh yeah, I'll do it for X amount and it be add-ons afterwards. But yeah,
I think a really good thing as well. Yeah, definitely. I think a really good thing as well is actually putting the question back. So when you are quoting something out, if you know that you do everything properly, no corners are cut, you go above and beyond the standards of what people set. So we come across the same problems day in, day out. So not priming the back of the slabs, not putting enough groundwork in depth-wise so it fails, using the wrong material on top, using the wrong material for jointing, grouting. And I think if you convey the things of how you're going to do it and what to watch out for when you are looking at a cheaper quote, or at least questions that they can ask someone else to ensure that it's getting done correctly, I think that also puts you in a good position because you're demonstrating correct practice.
Yeah.
And if they can't afford to go with that quote or it's not suitable for them at that time, at least they've asked the questions, because they might be fine with that as well. Like some people don't always want the top-notch job, but the information and communication is important because then they're aware of what type of job they're getting.
Yeah, and again, we say about it. It doesn't matter the size of the actual project is irrelevant at the time of what I'm trying to say is that the size of the project doesn't really matter to the landscaper, because whether it's 10 square metres that somebody's wanting doing or 1,000 square metres, the same time, care, professionalism has to be put into doing that.
But it can be so different, like we've said in previous episodes. So if your access is tight, there'll be a lot more labour hours on. People might misjudge that and add hours onto you, like you've said at the end. So communication is
massive.
massive.
Yeah. Realism, being realistic, I think, is a massive thing to people. As you know, not promising the world and delivering nothing.
Yeah.
And again, not underestimating the actual project and how it might be more difficult than it actually is, than just a 10 square metre patio is sort of like, might seem, it's X amount per square metre, but if it's up a hill doing whatever else like that, could be more than doing whatever.
So communication is a way to grow your landscaping business. I think as well, one big thing is when you are completing projects, word of mouth is your best referral. So we'll go through some parts of where you can advertise and where's good for advertising, especially free advertising, of how you do it. But I think word of mouth is always the most important, because I know a lot of landscapers that they'll end up on the same street for like 3 years just because of referrals.
Literally,
So how you communicate with them at the start, how you communicate throughout the project, is how you get repeat work. If someone wins that job and adds money onto the end and ends up having a bitter relationship with that client, that can be more damaging than anything else. So I think it fits into it all. When you're advertising yourself, it's really important to show up on all platforms. So we know that the search is changing, it's not all fired through Google anymore. So I think it's really important to grow your business to have all of the channels. So you have Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and that is more for like a showcase of your work. So even if like Pinterest might not necessarily be targeted in your location that you work, but having a catalogue of your work to showcase to people is really important. That's a big battle of actually winning the job. So that
social media is, as we've said before, massive, and it's a platform to be able to showcase your work without people having to go visit previous jobs in physical, having a look. But it's that word of mouth,
testimonials, case studies. It's all trust building, and I speak about this a lot with landscapers, and a lot of the time I get the response that if it's Pinterest or Instagram, you're promoting to the world. Obviously, being a builder, landscaper, sometimes designer, you are based in a certain area, because you're not going to travel some people may, but you're not going to travel 5 hours to do a patio, because that will cost you out of it. But things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of the platforms, you can use specific hashtags or specific tags to target your area. Like, for example, if you were in West Yorkshire and that was an area you covered, what I would be thinking about with my Instagram name is to be calling myself the West Yorkshire Landscaper. Because when people look in that area, that's how it brings you up. There's a whole... We could just talk for hours about the best way to show up on social media, but one point is having a presence on the mall and having a bit of education on the mall, because that is how the search is changing and how people will ultimately showcase themselves and win work.
On that as well, we have, like I say, 1,000 different customers and people who have actually phoned you up and spoken to you, and which has sparked a bit of a thing for us, and asked for advice on how do they get noticed, how do we do this, how do we do that.
Because it's changed so dramatically. It's
absolutely
like not even we can keep up sometimes. So
and we are in a new phase at RF where we are sort of like creating different things, and we are doing CPDs for various different industries. We're currently on with doing a CPD for landscapers, which shows them how to use Facebook, how to use all the different platforms as such, which we can then present to them. They don't have to come and see us direct.
No, this will be accessible to everyone.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
You know, we can do a CPD. Well, when you talk about, you know, tagging somebody in, I had to talk somebody through it the other day. They were putting they wasn't putting the @ sign, so they're just putting RF paving or whatever, and so like, if you put @ then it brings it up, you select it, and they were like, wow, I never knew that. And you know, for somebody,
simple things, it's just educational.
Yeah,
it's
that's
hard
right,
to work. There's that much stuff on the internet, it's hard to
somebody of an age
work it out. No, but it's true.
like
You're not
me might not know that.
But also so we say, love saying I'm younger than you, but I even have had to learn it. It's not something that when I was younger it was even about. And it's not just an age thing, it's genuinely people that it's becoming more and more and more apparent. It was a tool before that was active, like people used it, but Google was the main search. It's changing now, so it's part of your business to understand the basics of it, and we will help through that. So it might not be when this episode's released, but within the next few weeks we'll make sure that we've got that online available for access, and then I'll change the link down below and then you can access it.
Excellent.
So it's there for you. How else would you advise people to grow the landscaping business? Big is not always better.
Big isn't always better. Exactly, yeah. Big isn't always better. You know, we've got various different customers of different sizes who deal with different things. You know, if you're thinking, I want to run a fleet of trucks that has got, you know, several different landscapes doing it, whatever, then you're getting into the commercial side of things. From that, you think, there's big money in that.
But you've got to make the money in it, because if you're not pricing the jobs right and you're having to physically run all of those people, you can do more damage to your name than good.
You know, and it's sort of like you're at the bottom of the pecking list for payment type of thing. So you've got to have the cash flow to be able to support getting paid after 90 days, if you're lucky, and then extra 30 days, so 120 days, you know, you got a third of a year that you're not getting paid for the work that you've actually done. So is that sustainable for you as a company?
A thing that goes along with that, like about money management, is when you are quoting a job as well, to actually quote what it is and make sure your labour covers what it needs to cover. Don't chop your labour in half because you're competing with someone else. Hold your standards of what you are. If you find that you're not getting work from that, then you need to advertise yourself in a way that you're setting your bar above. Like Lee Harker that we had on this podcast. How he prices is how he prices. His standard to work is second to none. You either have him or you don't have him, or you have a smaller project. But I think sometimes a lot of people, it's like a race to the bottom. When it is that and you're doing a lot of work, you're not getting your fair share out of it to live anyway, so it causes stress. So a big thing for me, how to grow your business, is price it properly, stay firm on your pricing, and raise your level to why you're charging that price.
Yeah.
You're working less, you're earning more money, and then you've got money to be able to grow your business in a way that suits, and then leading into thinking about, if you are going to get quite a few different teams, think that through from a money perspective, not just bigger is always better.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would say, so like, again, about, I use the word respect quite a lot, and I think having respect for everything within your project, and you being a professional, so starts with yourself. Have respect for yourself, and like you've just said about, sort of like price yourself where you think you need to be, and stick to it, and stick to your guns. Have respect for your tools, your equipment, everything, your workers, your suppliers, and especially your customers.
Absolutely.
And and I think if you can respect everything that is to do with your project, I think that builds a platform that is second to none in everything, because we have different people who come to us, and different, like I said, different levels of progress, people who've just started right through to very established, but they all respect us as a supplier to be able to sort of like give them the best possible service that we can do, which is great. So then if they respect their customers, their employees, which we often see that the guys that use us don't swap and change men every now and again. They're all sort of like, the regulars that come into our depots and such, is like, you can see the same lads coming in and out, and it's great. So
and it's important to know, like, when we're talking about suppliers, like where you get your paving from.
Yeah.
By them being able to say where you get your paving from, and your supplier can also back you up, and you can go see the supplier.
Yep.
You're not hiding anything, are you?
You're
building trust and respect within everything that you're doing.
They send their customers into us to be able to choose to
give education from
exactly,
that point of view, and that's really good.
Yeah.
So to summarise, how we would suggest growing your landscaping business. So social media,
definitely.
Looking at all the different platforms and showing up on the internet more than you did before. Also using targeted methods to come up in your area, basically. So it's not just for vanity, it's actually to gain your business.
There's different levels in it, but to gain business-wise.
To gain business-wise,
yeah.
There's obviously the whole creator thing, which is also,
different subject. But
different subject. Other points are for your communication, how you show up, how you respect everyone in the chain, down from suppliers to customers, knowing and holding your value, and also making sure that each part of it you're doing correctly, because the word of mouth on even a starter job, it's unbelievable how much that can snowball and turn into
and I think
an easy way of getting business.
Yeah, I think a mixture of all that gives you the integrity, and it gives you the, like I said before, stacking the cards in your favour against pricing against somebody else. If you can do those things, then you're not going to win every job, but at least you're going to put yourself in a position to be able to perhaps pick and choose jobs that you actually want to do.
Absolutely.